and thank you for your service. There's a famous movie line, I'm sure you've heard it. Deserves got nothing to do with it. Deserves got nothing to do with it. And I don't think you deserve to have to be here today to answer questions about immigration. Because I don't think you're calling the shots. I think those shots are being called out of the White House. I think they ought to be here. The people determining our border policy, in your opinion, are they just incompetent, or do they believe in open borders?
Senator, I'm intensely and immensely proud to be a member of President Biden's cabinet, and for the policies that are promulgated, I should be held accountable.
Right. I looked last night at President Biden's platform when he ran for president. He supported amnesty for the 11.7 million people in our country illegally. He promised he would end the Remain in Mexico program. He promised he would end the safe third country agreements. He promised he would get rid of the border wall. He promised to encourage sanctuary cities, and he said, I'm not going to deport people. Can we agree that you don't have to be Mensa material to understand that's an open border policy?
Senator, a few of your recitations, if I may respectfully submit, were not accurate portrayals of the president's policy. He did not
I looked up his platform last night. It's right there. I mean, here's what I believe on immigration.
Senator, again, I would respectfully disagree with your characterization of the president's policies. So, for example...
well, let me ask you this. Okay, you say he didn't say this. The surge that we're having at the border, the 1.7 million people that have come into our country illegally, and the Washington Post says it's another 1,000 who are undetected. The president says that happens every single solitary year. Is he wrong on that or right on that?
Senator, we encounter many, many people at the border every year. The number that we have encountered of different individuals this year is at a historic level. It's
like the highest in 60 years, right?
As I mentioned earlier, I'm not familiar with the time frame, but it is certainly a historically high number, Senator.
Okay. Well, your administration has released thousands of people into our country who are COVID positive, have you not?
Senator, as I mentioned earlier, it is our policy to test and, as necessary, isolate and quarantine.
I know, but you've still released thousands who are positive, haven't you?
There have been individuals who have been released. And by the way, those individuals, just to be clear, because there's a misperception, those individuals who are not immediately expelled or removed under expedited processes are placed into immigration enforcement proceedings.
Right.
They are
but I'm talking about COVID.
Here in court and stand before a judge.
Right.
And if they don't have a claim under law to remain in the United States, they are removed.
Your department has released thousands of people into this country illegally who are drug dealers, haven't you?
I'm sorry, Senator?
Your department has released thousands of people illegally into this country who are drug dealers, haven't you?
I'm not familiar with what you've just articulated. It is our policy that if an individual is a drug dealer and we encounter and apprehend that individual at the border, and the individual poses a public safety threat, and there are not conditions that are available to us to ensure the safety of the American
But how do you know if 1,000 a day, according to the Washington Post, are coming in undetected?
If I may, just to finish my statement.
I'm sorry.
If there are not conditions that can secure the safety of the American people, that individual is detained, is placed in immigration custody.
Right. We know the superlative job y'all are doing. Your department has released thousands of people into this country illegally who have criminal records, haven't you?
Senator, individuals who are apprehended at the border are subject to a number of different paths. They can be expelled under Title 42 of the U.S. Code under the CDC's Public Health Authority. They can be placed into expedited
Mr. Secretary, I've got limited time, and I understand the procedure.
I know, but
I'm just trying to get you to answer my questions. Your administration, the Biden administration, has released into our country people coming across the border, thousands of them, who have criminal records. Isn't that the case?
Senator, I'm not aware of thousands of individuals with criminal records who are released into the interior of the United States.
All right, let me try another one.
Who are not
Your department has released into our country thousands of people who have promptly gone on welfare. Isn't that the case?
I don't believe that individuals who are unlawfully present in the United States qualify for welfare, but that is something that I'm happy to follow.
You ever been to California?
I grew up for most of my life in California.
Okay, check their rolls.
I wasn't born in this country.
Yes, sir, I know. And I think we ought to tell the Cuban-American success story every chance we get.
Thank you.
I'm about to run out of time. Our Vice President Harris, our border czar, what kind of grade would you give her?
Vice President Harris is not the border czar. Vice President Harris has been asked by the President of the United States to focus on root causes.
Okay, let me answer this quickly in my last few seconds. When was the last time you talked to her about securing the border?
Several weeks ago.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy.
On time. I want you to recognize that.
I sure do. You get an A+. Senator
Thank you.
Booker?
Yeah, thank you very much for being here, Secretary Mayorkas. I want to thank you and the incredible professionals, thousands of work under your